my face. Okay. So what do I mean about email? So it doesn't matter if you're an established business. Everybody usually starts out with an email address. It is very, very imperative that you set up that email address properly, especially with the new anti-spam rules that are coming to effect for email marketing. I know I ran into this problem in North America. I've not checked how rampant email mis-setup is in the UAE. So there's a couple reasons I'm going to talk about this. Number one, business owners getting hacked, getting locked out of their email. It is super easy for you to get locked out of your email. It could be hackers. It could be you mistyping your password in a couple times. It could be you skipping the instructions to set up two-factor authentication. I'm going to put my banner for my speed dating here because, anyway, if you're wondering, if you're watching this, you've never met me, I have a bunch of podcasts on entertainment.com, business speed dating with magicmike.com. I'd love to interview you and make you some complimentary video footage so that you can rank on YouTube at minimum. But we're going to share it on entertainment.com, all of our apps, Roku, Fire Stick, on my socials. So if you're watching this, you haven't met me before, please sign up for your own business speed dating interview. But what we're talking about today is setting up your email for your business and doing it yourself, and why that is the wrong course of action. Okay, you're going to get locked out. I guarantee you at some point you're going to get locked out. And when you get locked out, Google and Microsoft are not going to help you. You might find somebody at Google and Microsoft to help you, but the process is going to take days, if not weeks. And really, realistically, they're only going to help you if it's a paid account and you can verify your address and your credit card number are the ones on the account. So if you're okay with that, potentially losing your email address that's on all your marketing, on all your social media posts, then fine, go that route. But I'm just going to tell you, the last week I've dealt with 2 clients being hacked out of their email. One, they have a global administrator set up, so I was able to get back in. The other account, there's no global administrator set up. They're the only global administrator, and they've ignored the two-factor authentication setups prompts. And what happens is if you skip setting up two-factor and they enforce it on you, you're locked out of your account. Meanwhile, I'll have some coffee. So, very, very important to set up your email properly. I made some notes on this. Okay. The impact of you taking your technology into your own hands and doing it as a DIY, do-it-yourself job is potentially losing access to your systems and being hacked out of them. Let's discuss email. Office 365 and G Suite for Business. And let's explore why you need an experienced, security-focused technology coach to set your systems up the correct way. The results can be disastrous, and you'll potentially cause your business to grind to a halt. So, how does this happen? Well, maybe you've not set up a really strong password, or you're reusing a password and somebody else guesses it. You've changed your password to something clever, but you don't write it down in either an offline password manager or your digital password manager. Or you're traveling and you're switching IP addresses a lot, and Microsoft or Google flags that as suspicious activity, and then they force you to change your password, and in a rush, you do change your password, trying to meet the requirements for password strength, and you get locked out. Because, of course, as soon as you change your password on your email, all your devices that normally sign into your email are going to all be logged out. And if you do not record that new password properly, you're going to be in a panic because you're not going to be able to get into it. And maybe that's okay with you. But I know that the whole reason my business is called Don't Get Hacked is we want to empower business owners to be proactive, to have their email system set up properly. But most of the time when you're running a business, everything is reactive. So you just do what you do to make money, to pay the bills. And then what ends up happening is a security incident happens. And maybe it's not that bad, and maybe you can get back in with the help of a professional like myself or somebody else, or you're paying them hourly, big bucks, potentially big bucks to get you back in. Or you're locked out completely. And you're going to spend hours upon hours trying to find Microsoft or Google tech support phone numbers to then get in. So when it comes down to having like just a normal email address, which is not a business email address at your domain, like at Gmail or at Hotmail or at Outlook or at Shaw or whatever it is, your time's money. And you're gonna have, like, if there's an internet service provider email and you've got like a bill attached to that account, maybe it's only going to be a couple hours of you calling tech support to get them to let you to call their tech support line and get back in. If it's a free Gmail or free Hotmail, I don't believe there's any way for you to recover your email address if you lose it, because there's no that's the importance of setting up two-factor. So with one of my, I've got this free download. It's called Offline Password Manager, and the step-by-step instructions are to turn on two-factor and record what method of two-factor you're using, whether it's a text message code, email code, or using Authenticator app. But adding that two-factor authentication step on also leads to complexity, also leads to confusion. And I still see people getting locked completely out of their email when they're using two-factor because they change cell phone numbers, or somebody else sets up a cell phone number for their, the IT guy sets up his cell phone number, but then he dies or gets lost or disappears or whatever. Email code does not help you if you're locked out of your email, unless it's somebody else's email. Unless you're sending an email code to somebody else's email. Then with the Authenticator app, I see so many people losing their Authenticator app because they think they're smart and they're going to switch from one cell phone to another. But usually the quick and easy phone transfer steps from Apple or Samsung don't transfer over any of your encrypted Authenticator apps, and you usually have to transfer the backup codes over. I see so many people that go to a cell phone kiosk, get a new phone, half their stuff's not transferred over to the new phone. They leave their old phone at the cell phone kiosk for some ridiculous reason, and then they're locked out of everything. I see this happen all the time. People call us for I would love to have all my customers be proactive, but this is why I do these live videos, because if you don't know who I am and you've never heard this proactive stance on cybersecurity before, you don't know who I am. So I gotta introduce myself. And these live videos that I stream to LinkedIn, Facebook, and Instagram, and Twitch, and Twitter is, I think, the easiest way to introduce myself and explain the security implications of not actually implementing security properly when it comes to technology and accounts and phones and whatever else you're using in your life to run your business. Doesn't matter if you got a 5-figure business, 6-figure business, 7-figure business, 8-figure business, 9-figure business. If you don't have the proper technology coach and technology assistance, you're going to waste a lot of time, a lot of emotions, have a lot of frustrations when it comes to technology, because it's always changing. And somebody, a technology coach, cybersecurity expert like myself, I'm always have to learning new stuff. And it doesn't, even if I don't like the way things are being implemented, I still got to know them forwards and backwards, inside and out, because I know I know my next consulting gig is going to involve the new technology because somebody's got themselves locked out of something. So this is what I did. This is what I spent multiple hours yesterday doing. I have there's a business owner and they're traveling and they set up Office 365 and they're the only administrator. And somehow there's no two-factor set up. So I'm assuming Microsoft has enforced the two-factor. The end user ignored or skipped it, and now they're completely locked out. But it's a paid account, so we know that there's a bill of like $8 a month on this person's credit card. Do we know which credit card it is? Not necessarily, because they may have multiple credit cards. I haven't even gotten to that step with Microsoft because it literally took about 6 calls to Microsoft yesterday to even get one agent who was willing to help me out. I had to tell them the global administrator's locked out. So they're like, how can that be? The global administrators locked out of their Office 365? And I'm like, because somebody set it up themselves and didn't hire a professional, and they ignored all the security steps of setting up an Office 365 account. Another password doesn't work. And I don't know why the password doesn't work, but I'm assuming they ignored some Microsoft instruction and then bam, locked out. Don't have access to they're traveling. They don't have access to their email. So I told them they're going to have to go set up a backup email address just to get important emails to. Email codes weren't turned on, text messaging codes weren't, nothing important for recovering on the account was set up. So the cost of not doing things properly in the beginning is going to be stress, possibly loss of that account, and just whatever other effects there's going to be when you can't get back into your primary email address and you've been using it for decades. And they recently switched. So they were on a different provider before, and then they switched to Office 365. So anyway, they likely have email backups at one point. So they likely have some historical data. But whatever changes to that mailbox from whenever they set up Office, there might be historical stuff that they can always go and if they've got access to their domain, they can always go and move the domain to another hosting system and get back up and running. But anything, right now, any new changes in the last year or two are pretty much anyway, there's a lot of negative stuff that happens when security rules aren't set up properly, especially when it comes to Office 365. G Suite the same way. So lesson to be learned is when you're a business owner and you're setting up emails or any type of system, consult with a security professional who has a lot of experience. Us, another company, just focusing on saving money and doing it yourself is not always the best approach when it comes down to technology and cybersecurity, because you may think you're smart and intelligent and cutting edge, but there's always something that you don't know about a system, and it might cause you a little bit of damage, a little bit of inconvenience if you don't set it up properly, or it could be devastating when it's not set up properly. You just never know. It's 2024. There's all these catches, and there's all these things that you may not know about a system when you're implementing it. It's like buying a house or other, investments in your life where, if you buy a house without a home inspection, without a realtor, you don't know what type of mess you're getting yourself into. And that's a bigger, bigger situation than, I don't know, it might be the same as getting locked out of your email. Who knows? At the end of the day, only you know what type of devastating impact it is if you get locked out of your business email address permanently. How many accounts can you not log into because they send an email code to your primary email address? Anyway, so I told this user who is currently traveling that going forward, I suggest Microsoft says the password was entered in incorrectly 3 times and two-factor wasn't set up, or the two-factor was ignored and then the password was changed and then they couldn't confirm, like Microsoft has a reason that they froze this account. But that took me literally 5 or 6 hours on the phone yesterday calling Rend. Like, this user's freaking out and they're not even at home in North America. They're traveling and I'm traveling. So I'm like literally looking on the internet for tech support phone numbers from Microsoft. I have the client's name, I have their domain, I have their billing address, I have copies of their credit card information. I'm like calling Microsoft, trying to find some technician on the other end who understands the predicament this user's in and how, what steps we need to do in order to get them back in. But of course, if you're not using the right lingo, the Microsoft technicians just hang up on you. Hang up, hang up, hang up. And then once I figured out exactly what terminology they needed to hear, I was able to find somebody, I think out of the Gulf Coast office, who was able to help me. So I'll have to see what my cell phone bill is like, because I was calling American numbers and then I realized it's probably easier to get a hold of somebody in Middle East at Microsoft than it was to deal with a North American number, because of course I'm calling from a Canadian cell phone, but I don't know if I'm showing up in Canada or if I'm showing up in the UAE. So the American phone numbers kept hanging up on me, but the Gulf Coast office answered. And then I've got a ticket number. So, and I told the end user, I'm like, I don't even know if this is a 1 day, 5 day, 8 day process, 1 month process. I'll do my best to get you back into your Office 365 account that you got yourself locked out of. But going forward, they need to use a VPN on their phone, because I'm assuming maybe there was a security breach because they're traveling. And of course, they're going between airport internet and hotel internet and cruise ship internet, and who knows who is sniffing on that traffic coming from an iPhone and an iPad. So when you travel, you got to be super secure. Use a VPN, have two-factor authentication turned on all of your accounts, because it doesn't matter if you don't have any money to steal. There's always your identity. Anyway, I am going to 20-minute chat today. Be vigilant. Make sure if you're going to set up email, have recovery email that's not yours, cell phone number, two-factor authentication set up. If you're using Office 365 or G Suite, have a global administrator or different accounts set up, and just, there's a lot of steps to set up, and then that way, if you get locked out, they're 100% going to be able to get back in. All right. Have a good day. And again, looking for business owners, business speed dating with magicmike.com. It's quick and easy, 5, 10, 15-minute interview. We can go way longer than that, but it just really spotlight. I'm going to ask you questions about your business just to give you complimentary, to get you started on the way of daily discipline to record video messages for your potential audience, whether that is on your social media, my social media. We're going to distribute it on moodboentertainment.com and see if your message resonates with more customers, to get you more business. Anyway, have a good one. And if you need to contact us for tech support, I'm going to just go put up the phone number for a couple seconds here, and there we go. So again, Don't Get Hacked, global cybersecurity and tech support. Doesn't matter if you're using PC or Mac or Linux or cloud services or whatever you're using. We want to make sure you're getting professional advice and you're not going to get swindled by an online scammer who's A lot of business owners fall, they're having issues with something, and then they fall into the Google trap of searching for tech support on Google. And that's why it's really hard for me to advertise on the internet, because I know I'm advertising and competing against all the scammers of the world. And it's just easier. Yeah. Anyway, global 24/7 remote cybersecurity offered in Calgary, Alberta, Canada, and here in Dubai. And phone numbers are on the phone, 1-403-471-8082. Have a great day.